Stephen McBee Jr. and Jesse McBee return for a new season of McBee Dynasty Real American Cowboys on Bravo. Thank you both so much for your time today.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Stephen, we chatted last year before the premiere of the first season. Things are a little different. The stakes are a little higher. I mean, tell us a little bit about your mindset kind of going into it, knowing a lot of the things going on with your family and your personal lives are going to be on screen.
Yeah, especially with my dad being gone from season 2, it felt like the weight of the world's on my shoulders, and we're really taking it on, working together as a family to try and make sure we can keep the farm and ranch alive. Not only that, we're dealing with all sorts of relationship issues, mostly mine, unfortunately, but you get to see how it all unfolds here on season 2.
And I definitely want to ask, both of you a little bit about that later. But Jesse, going into harvest time, there's a lot of work, family relationships. I mean, talk a little bit about leaning on your brothers, during kind of all of this stuff that's going on.
Yeah, that seems to be the busiest time of year for us, beside having the reality television show. So having that on top of it, the $6 million payment, not having my dad there, it was a lot. And I think without my brothers and relying on each other, that we wouldn't have got through it. It definitely would have been a lot harder to get through it. So that's kind of what we've always done, even growing up. And you'll see it more on season 2, just how we rely on each other for pretty much everything.
And I think so many people are interested in watching the show because they want to see the inside workings of what takes place, but also people can relate to a lot of the relationship issues that they get to see on screen, because it's not maybe unique to you, because a lot of people go through this, especially trying to get everyone's spouses and girlfriends and partners to get along. And sometimes, Stephen, firsthand, that doesn't always kind of work out the way we have it in our head.
Not at all. Getting everyone on the same page and getting everyone, really getting along is more difficult a challenge than it seems. And for any viewers out there that want to learn what not to do in a relationship, watch this show. I guarantee you we make mistake after mistake.
Because you get very vulnerable emotionally, but also we get to see you in various states of undress. So not only physically, as well too, you get to kind of share that. Does that make it easier or make it a little harder to share?
Yeah, for me, it didn't really bother me that much. I think my mom, whenever she saw the previews of me in the shower, she was like, Stephen, what's going on here? And so, yeah, I had to have a conversation with her about that.
Obviously, it's a different conversation you have with the producers and your partner, but then once mom sees it, that's a whole nother conversation.
Yeah, Mama McBee was not too happy about that one.
Especially when you're sitting right next to her. And
yeah, it's a little awkward when you're sitting right next to her watching it, and you're like, oh.
Jesse, let's talk a little bit about marriage, you and Allie, but also, the brothers, no one's going through the same journey. Everyone is going through a different phase. I mean, talk a little bit about what you're going through, kind of maintaining that positivity, that you're going through in your life, but also being there for your brothers at the same time.
Yeah, I think that's the great thing about this show and us, is that we are all so different, and we all have our own problems, our own relationship problems and work problems. But as far as me, it's really just working through everything. I obviously have a great partner in Allie that makes my life a lot easier when I'm down or I'm having problems with, whether I'm fighting with my family, fighting because of work, things of that nature. Just relying on them to kind of keep my spirits up, and knowing that at the end of the day, we all have the same goal, and that's to keep this farm and ranch going for generations, and hopefully have a good relationship with each and every one of our partners. So that's kind of the main thing that we focus on each and every day.
And speaking of the next generation, Cole's about to become a dad. We're getting to see that journey as well too. Uncle duties. I mean, tell me a little bit about some of those conversations, babysitting, all those things that, kind of go into these conversations as we're getting ready for the baby.
Yeah, this is the first grandbaby for my mom and dad, the next generation of McBees. We don't know how to handle it because we've never been in this situation before. So all of our conversations, we're figuring this out as we go on camera, preparing for little baby Blair to be here.
And let's talk a little bit about harvest season, what a day looks like at the beginning, at the end, kind of everything you go through, just kind of get people excited for the new season.
There is no typical day on our farm, but essentially on harvest days, we have to make sure all of the equipment is up and running and ready to hit the fields. And then we are out in the fields pretty much all day long, putting out fires, figuratively and literally sometimes. But it's always just trying to figure out, how do we get these crops into our grain bins or down into the city, get them sold so we can make this $6 million payment.
Yeah, obviously, it's a big thing that people are going to be watching during the show, and much success, because the show is premiering tonight. Very exciting, and then it's going to be on Bravo, and then the next day it's going to be on Peacock. So, Stephen and Jesse, thank you both so much for your time today.
Thanks for having us. Appreciate it.